In this passage, the passage is about Fukuyama's view on relativism. The passage also talks about the differences between relativism and skepticism. At the end, the author says, skepticism has some benefits, compares them, and seems to end it on a positive note, saying skepticism at least allows people or gives people are a little less frustrated with skepticism. So let's quickly look at the passage before we answer questions. In a blog, now remember, the rule for any RC passage is the same, that you read every line of the passage quickly, but only rephrase or simplify those lines which are important, which is exactly what I'm going to do with you. In a blog on epistemic relativism, Francis Fukuyama writes, "We who live in the modern liberal societies have necessarily accepted a certain degree of moral relativism." So first point, that in modern societies, we accept a level of moral relativism. Now you don't have to understand what this means. Move on. Fukuyama doesn't comment on whether this is a good or bad thing, so we are also not going to comment. But chastises, means scolds, postmodernist writers who espouse relativism, promote relativism regarding assertions of fact concerning the outside world. Fukuyama identifies the rise of epistemic relativism, epistemic related to knowledge, with writers who followed Nietzsche, but these themes are present in some book. Bracketing from the question of chronology, is Fukuyama right that relativism is a problem? So first paragraph, what is it you need to process? Fukuyama has some issues with relativism. Is Fukuyama right that relativism is a problem? That's it. You don't need to read anything more about that. Next paragraph, a quick reply is that skeptics eschew the term relativism. Eschew, avoid. Skeptics do not maintain that truth changes depending on time or place. That means relativism does. In 1933, the German philosopher Martin Heidegger believed in the inner truth and greatness of the nationalist socialist cause. Heidegger is a relativist but not a skeptic. Again, we don't have to bother. We only need to know that skeptics don't maintain that truth changes depending on time and place. They avoid any comment on skepticism, but any comments on relativism, but they don't believe that truth changes with space and time. That means relativists do. That's why they're called relativists. To the larger point that epistemic relativism is a problem, skeptics maintain that they do have criteria to make decisions about facts in the world or how to treat other people. These are, according to Sextus, the guidance of nature, the compulsion of feelings, the traditions of laws and customs, and the instructions of the art. For Sextus, now he is quoting two people. For Sextus, nature and culture are the soil from which our ethical dispositions grow. So skeptics or relativists also have some context. Okay, they grow in a context, and that is where their ethical leanings or dispositions grow. Skeptics may be kind to children, help their neighbor, build institutions that reflect the value of their culture. So they are not unaffected by culture. They can be kind. They do all the things. They have a kind of moral tie with the culture in which they exist. In one of Sextus's surviving manuscripts titled Against the Ethicists, he addresses the question of what a skeptic will do if a tyrant commands a forbidden act. So now skeptics, he says, how will a skeptic deal with the question of a tyrant commanding a forbidden act? The skeptic will choose one thing perhaps and avoid the other by the preconception which accords with his ancestral laws and customs, will bear the harsh situation more easily compared with the dogmatic. The critics of skepticism, such as Nussbaum, this seems like evidence that skeptics are passive in the face of injustice. So now they put an example. They say if a skeptic is asked, how will you deal? Suppose a tyrant asks you to do something wrong. How will you deal with it? So the answer that was given was very vague. And based on that, the critics of skeptics have said that they will tolerate injustice. They will keep quiet in the face of injustice. They don't even know whether they will fight tyrants. Now, what is the answer to that? Rising to Sextus's defense, the political scientist John Christian Lawson argues that skeptics can grow up in cultures that believe in watering the tree of liberty. So, people who support skepticism say, no, listen, skeptics can support liberty. They are not like they're supporters of tyrants. They support liberty. They can possess energy, commitment, concern about the political order. One can be committed without a chain of truth to support one's act. So they can be committed to a cause, a good cause, to liberty without really, having the evidence that, look, we are supporting it. Of course, dogmatics can also support tyrants who murder people who disagree with them. Fukuyama wants people to agree on facts about the outside world. Now here comes, at the beginning, the first paragraph he talks, Fukuyama has a problem with relativists about facts concerning the outside world. We don't know what that is. We come back to the line, Fukuyama wants people to agree on facts about the outside world. But intelligent people can look at those supposed facts in a variety of ways. Grass is green except at night when it appears black. Skeptics can make arguments like that for a long time. Skeptics encourage us to live our lives in less frustrating ways than demanding some things that humans do not and may not ever possess. That is the truth. So skeptics don't believe that you can obtain the truth. So they say, look, you can still live life without ever obtaining or possessing truth. For example, grass is green. Is that a fact or truth? Well, in the daytime it looks green, but at night it looks black. So this is the way they argue to support their positions. That is the passage. All right. Now let's look at the questions. And when we look at a part of the question that needs us to go back to the passage, we will do that. Regarding which one of the following quotes could we argue that the author overemphasizes the importance of skepticism? Now, when you look at a question like this, you anticipate what is the answer going to be like. Obviously, since he is saying following quotes, all four options will quote lines from the passage. So read the lines and decide which line indicates that what is being said about skepticism and its importance seems to be a little overboard. So it doesn't require you to go back to the passage to answer this question. All you have to do is read the options, the quotes that are given, and find out which quote seems to go a little overboard in talking about why skepticism is important. Its impact, its importance, something it will say, this is it, this is too much. So you get the impression. Look for a quote which praises skepticism to the skies, which says you can't do without skepticism. So that's what you're looking at. A quick reply is that skeptics eschew the term relativism. Skeptics avoid the term relativism. How can that overemphasize the importance of skepticism? No, it doesn't. Skeptics do not maintain that truth changes depending on time or place. The relativists do, skeptics do not. That is the truth. But how is it for showing the importance of skepticism? It's not doing that. It's just stating a fact about skepticism. Therefore, I'm not very happy with this option either. The skeptic will choose one thing perhaps and avoid the other by the preconception which accords with his ancestral laws and customs, will bear the harsh situation more easily compared with the dogmatist. Now, if you remember this quote is an answer to how will the skeptic deal with a tyrant. Correct? Now, that also doesn't show, it's just how will a skeptic respond to a tyrant. So that's not in any way showing its importance. It's just showing an aspect of skepticism, again from one point of view, which has immediately been countered by another. Option D. Skeptics encourage us to live our lives in less frustrating way than demanding some things that humans do not and may not ever possess. That is the truth. So he is talking about the role of skepticism, about how skepticism affects us, that it encourages us to live our lives in less frustrating ways. So in a way, the author is saying it's helping us lead better lives. It is not demanding something that we never have. So this is the answer. By showing its importance on our lives, on how to lead our lives, on how it makes life less frustrating for us, the author seems to be overemphasizing the importance of skepticism. So the answer is D.